Hi everyone, I am Donna Reid and this is Donna Reid Talks Voice, and this is the third lesson that we're having with Alex. Isn't that right, Alex? The third lesson?
Yeah, that's third.
It's the third one. How are you today?
Not bad, I think.
Okay. Okay, good. Now, I know we had a week off. We had two lessons one week after the other, and then we had a week off. So, in the week off, have you been singing? Have you discovered anything? What have you noticed?
I've seen a little bit, but I was really busy because now I'm changing my social apartment. It's because the status of refugee. So I've seen one or two maybe times, but after our lessons, I've started to feel more comfortable with my voice. It started to sound much louder. It's started. I don't know how to say it. I'm really more sure about what I'm doing with
Great.
my vocal things.
Okay, wonderful. I'll tell you what I wanted to do today. I wanted to really talk about how you experience your breathing, how you
Mhm.
experience where you take the breath, how you take the breath, what you do with that. I'll give a little introduction first. The thing about breathing is that there are so many different ways that people say, breathe like this, breathe like that, breathe like the other thing, do this, put the air here, put the air there. One of the things about breathing is that we can really direct our air in many different places. So many people, a lot of people teach the, quote unquote, belly breathing. And I put that in quotes because you can't put air where your stomach is, but you can breathe in and make your stomach go out. You can force that to happen. You can breathe so that it's really high and everything expands this way. You can breathe so that the rib cage comes out this way. You can breathe so that you feel it in your back. There's so many different ways that we can aim the air one place or the other. Now, the reason I'm saying that is what we need to find out. First of all, we have to understand that the lungs are basically back here, back here, back here. When the doctor listens to your lungs, they put the stethoscope back there, and they say breathe, breathe. So that's where the lungs are. They actually sit back there, more in the back and not in the front because the heart is here and all of that. Now, obviously, they are a little bit further down, but they're not as low as the bottom of the rib cage. But when we breathe in, the rib cage should be moving, of course. Now, the reason I say that is many times if we get tight when we sing or if we run out of breath, it's simply because the air is not going where the air needs to go. So when we direct the air where the lungs actually are, we find out we get more air. And then if we're breathing in another way, even sometimes if this is moving and we see this move, the air still could not be getting where the lungs are. And then we feel we have to push out the rest of the air. Now, that big speech having been said, right? We each have to, as an individual, find out what works for us. Where do you feel the air? Where is more efficient? Even though I say the air is back there, I'm going to ask you to think of your air being back there. Maybe that's not efficient for you. Maybe that doesn't work. So, but we're going to see what happens. So, what I'm going to have you do, as we always start, I'm going to have you exhale. Inhale to bring your arms up, and exhale. And again, take your time. And notice while you're doing that, and do it again, notice where you feel the air. And you may not feel anything. You may just feel the movement of your rib cage. And again, okay, great. Now, before I even ask you where you feel the air, I'm going to have you do it again, but it's a little bit different. I'm going to have you exhale, inhale, then wait a second. So you're going to exhale, exhale, and then when you inhale without your arms, notice where do you feel the air? Do you feel the air the same way as when you do it with the arms?
Okay.
So try that. Okay, now without the arms, what do you notice?
I don't really know. It's not in the stomach, it's more in the rib cage, I guess. Here, in here.
And does it feel the same as when you do this with the air?
I think with hands it's more free than without.
Okay, great observation. So we're going to do it again. You're going to do exhale, inhale, and then wait.
Okay.
So you're going to do exhale, inhale, notice the freedom of where the air is. Then when you do the inhale without the arms, see if you can direct the air in the same way.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now see if you can make the air do the same thing. What did you notice?
It's more on back side, I think. I don't really know.
Okay, and again, uh, eh, not knowing is very typical because
Uh-huh.
most of us are very unaware of, well, what exactly is that air doing? Exactly what am I feeling? So I'll tell you what I noticed just observing. When you do this, I really notice a big movement. I notice a lot of freedom of movement. When you breathe without doing this, I'm not noticing a lot of movement. It seems almost as if it's a little tighter.
Yeah, that's truth. It's
Okay,
really
you feel
tighter.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So what I'm going to have you do, once again, you're going to exhale, inhale, exhale. Then when you inhale, while you're inhaling, move. So let me show
Mm-hmm.
you. You're going to go, and then, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I get it.
That's different.
Yeah.
I could hear that it's different the way the air goes in, and I could see that it's different. Do you feel that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally.
Okay, now I'll tell you what we're going to do with that. So when you inhale, I'm going to have you move, and you're going to sing our falsetto ooh.
Mhm.
And it may be too much air for the exercise. I don't care if it's too much air for the exercise. You just exhale whatever you need to exhale. But you breathe in, moving the shoulders, okay? And then sing ooh falsetto.
Mhm. Okay.
Great. Now I know it's just one exercise, but do you notice how much air you have?
Yeah, I've got a lot, but when I started to singing, it was not a lot of.
It was not when you started to sing. It wasn't a lot of what?
Not a lot of hair outside. It's like I got inside a lot of, but outside not.
Okay, yes. So what happens, and again, it was a little bit too much air for the exercise, fine. But when we have the air potential in the lungs, when we have enough air in the lungs, then you don't feel you need to push the air out. So I'll give the analogy that my late husband used to give with the balloon. He said, when you blow up a balloon, the balloon goes like this, right? Then you could take the valve of the balloon and you can make those little noises, those little squeaky noises, right?
Yeah.
He said those molecules, those air molecules in the balloon want to escape. They want to get out as soon as you open up the little valve. You don't have to take the balloon and push it like that. Because then if you do that, instead of making the little squeaky noises, it'll just go like that.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the vocal cords. If you have the air potential in your lungs, then all you have to do is make a sound and the cords open up and the air wants to come out. But because most of us don't have efficient air in the lungs. We don't have enough air. We need to push out the air, and then that makes it less efficient. But now we're going to do it like this. No, I'm going to go lower. You're going to do it on an ah, just plain old ah, and then sustain the top note, hold the top note a little bit, and back down. But I want you to breathe the same way. You're going to breathe in, moving your shoulders, and then you sing. Now, do that. What did you notice? Be careful. I'm going to have you do it again. You have to be careful with your pitches going down.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
That's okay.
I always do the wrong pitches, I know.
Don't worry about
I
that.
don't know why.
Don't worry about that. But what did you notice with your air?
Um,
And maybe nothing. You could always say, I don't know, I didn't notice anything.
yeah. I try to get it. I think it was not so tight when it was before, because when I do it with myself, I just it was more tighter, but now it was really easier.
Yeah. So I was thinking about this because I was remembering the last two lessons that we did, and I noticed that again, as I said before, at the ends of the phrases, there's a little something going on. And then I thought, well, maybe it's not that you're getting the air and then pushing. Maybe you're not getting enough air. And I think that the air is just not being directed in the most efficient way. But now it is with this. So let's do it again. And I'm going to do it a little differently. I'm going to have you, this is a little more challenging with the air because you're going to sustain the top note and you're not going to come back down. So you're just going to sing ah, and then sustain that top note and just hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, and then you're going to stop there. But breathe in the same way and do the same thing, okay? Ah. Now, did you notice that with that one, that was interesting? The in-breath wasn't quite the same. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, now that you're getting used to it, your body is like, oh, okay, wait a minute. Maybe I can grab a little bit.
Yeah.
And
That's true.
then what was interesting, and you didn't do this last time, when you started this one, you started with ha.
Yeah.
Now, did you do that on purpose or did you that just happened?
No, it just happened.
There you go. So it could be because you're thinking about the air and then you're thinking, oh, maybe I need to use the air. I don't know what the thought was. It really doesn't matter. But obviously you don't want to start with pushing the air. So be careful that it doesn't start with the ha. I'm going to have you do it again. And again, watch your in-breath. You move and then you breathe so that when you move, when you breathe, everything is moving so that it expands. Okay, try it again. Now, two things. One, you had way more air.
Yeah.
And two, did you notice that the top note, the one before, the top note was straight. This one, the top note started to have vibration, started to have a vibrato.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons that the note goes straight is if we're tight with the airflow, or if we're pushing the air, or if we're tight and cutting off the air, then it can't vibrate. Now that vibrated very nicely. It started to have a really nice, lively sound to it. So now we're going to do step two. Same thing, and sustain it. Hear that vibrato, and then you come back down. Now, when you come back down, be careful that you don't push coming back down because the air is steady and sustaining the top. And then when you come back down, you just don't need to work so hard. But really, the most important thing is your in-breath. So move and watch that in-breath and do the same thing. Sustain it a little bit, hear those vibrations, and back down.
Okay.
And what did you notice with that?
Oh, the last note was not perfect. It was a little bit unpitched.
Don't worry about
Uh,
that. I'll tell you why in a
yeah,
minute. In
yeah,
a moment.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But the highest note uh, wasn't really tight. It was
Right.
much freer. Yeah, yeah.
Definitely, definitely. And I'll tell you what happened on the last note. What happened on the last note is you just pushed a little too hard.
Yeah, yeah,
So
maybe.
when it's that low, remember, you really don't have to work at all. In fact, I'll show you that right now. You're going to sing the bottom note all by itself. You don't even worry about how you're taking the breath. You barely need any air whatsoever. One note on the ah, just sing that ah.
Mhm. Excuse me. What should I
Okay, well,
do?
all you're going to do is sing one note. You're just going to sing ah, just sing the
Uh-huh.
ah. You don't even need to take a big breath. You barely need to breathe at all
Mhm.
because it's low, it's one
Mhm.
note, so you don't need a lot of air. So you don't
Mhm.
even think about taking a breath, just a little tiny breath, and then you just sing ah, and you sustain it just the one note.
Mhm. With breathing
No, no,
no,
no,
no.
none of that, none of that. Just sing it.
Okay. Uh,
Good, perfect. Now you notice you didn't even have to breathe.
yeah,
Of course not, because it's low. Now, if you were to do the same thing there, that wouldn't work because that's higher.
yeah,
So I'm going to have you do the same thing. But for this one, you're going to breathe like this, just the way we've been doing. And it's just that now it's the octave up, the top note. And you're just going to sing that one note all by itself. So, ah, way up there. And you breathe and take your time.
Mhm. Ah.
Good. Now, except for the ha, again, you had a little ha.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've heard it.
Yeah, that's a habit you have to be very careful about because you want the note to start with some airflow, but you don't want to push the air. But that's okay because even though that you did that, it still sounded pretty good. And you notice the difference in air and energy between this one and that low one down there.
Yeah,
A big difference, right?
yeah, yeah, of course.
Of course. So there's a big difference in the approach, and there's a big difference in how much air you need and the energy and all of that. Now, what makes it difficult when we sing is if you're starting here, I'm sorry, if you're starting here and it goes there and then you come back down, you have to gauge your energy. You have to notice where your energy goes. Not a lot on the bottom, then you have more energy on the top, then you have less on the bottom. But what's difficult is that you have to take more air because you have a whole octave that you have to go up and then you have to come down. It's kind of like you take the air, you don't use it on the bottom, and then you let it do whatever it needs to do on the top, and then you don't use it again on the bottom. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 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 of course.
Okay, so now we're going to try that. You're going to breathe in like this, the way we've been doing,
Mhm.
but you're going to do the whole thing up and then down. And again, you kind of don't use your air on the bottom, easy, easy, but energy on the top. And then when you come back down, you really back off again with the air and the energy. Okay, try it.
Mhm.
Do you see how much you have to back off on the bottom?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I really need it. I really need it.
And that's another thing that people don't realize how little they have to work. especially when you have enough air. When you have the air going in the right place, going in where the lungs are, when the air is actually in the lungs, you don't have to work so hard. But especially, and I'm going to say this because I want people out there to really understand the concept, that whole idea of the belly breathing. What happens with that is you simply don't get air where your lungs are. It doesn't go there. And that's why when you belly breathe and your belly pooches out, that's why you have to work so hard to support, because you have no air. It's physiologically logical. So I don't know why people teach that. Whatever. I tell all of my YouTube listeners, experiment at home. If you take a belly breath, do you have a lot of air? Do you feel you have to push? If you take this kind of air, do you have a lot of air? Do you feel you have to push? If the belly breath works for you, wonderful. Do it. If that makes you sing beautifully, fabulous. I just find that most people don't sing well with that. They just don't. And I know that's not what you're thinking, because I know you've read, you know about Cornelius, and you've read his books, and you understand all of that. I know that. But we can't help it. The air is always going somewhere weird, because if our voices don't work as well as we want them to, and I mean, we're all in the same boat. Our voices never work as well as we want them to work. Then we try to do something to make them work. And that doing something to make them work is usually something that's tight in our body. It's like, okay, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that, I'm going to try the other thing. And we can't help it. I mean, that's completely understandable. But I'm going to have you do the same thing we just did, but now I'm going to go up a half step. So it's the same thing you just did. Move around, take the air, don't use it on the bottom, use it on the top, and then you come back down and really listen, especially for the vibrations. You want to hear that when you sustain and hold that top note, there's something vibrating. Usually it'll just happen if the air is efficient, it'll just happen on its own. But think about that, okay? Try it again. Now be careful. Wait, let me ask you this. Did you run out of breath on the bottom note?
Um, I don't really know because
Okay, yeah.
I do a lot of things. I think about a lot of things, and
Yeah, no, it's a lot to pay attention to. I understand. I think what happened, um, I'm not sure if you ran out of breath or not, but I think you pulled back maybe a little too much on the
yeah.
very last note. I think that's what happened. So we're going to do it again. And the top note was good. But again, be careful with your first note. You're still going ha.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to fix that for you. Instead of just starting it with the ah, start with a GL, do gla.
Glove. Okay.
Gla. And then everything else is ah. But everything else is the same with the air and all of that. And when you come back down, you have to listen to the sound, and you have to get a sense of, well, how much energy do I need? How much is too much? How much is not enough? Just hear the sound. So don't back off too much, but you don't want to push too much either. All right, try it again. And you're breathing this way.
Excuse me, should I do like this? Gla 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 or gla ah ah
No, no,
ah?
no. Just gla ah ah ah.
Ah, okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
just one G. Just one
Uh-huh.
GL, gla, and then everything else is ah ah.
Mhm. Gla.
Yes, 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 yes. And that was good.
Yeah. Yeah, that was better. That was easier.
Yeah. And you see, that's how you can judge what you're doing. I've said that many times before. If it's easier, you know something's right. It
Yeah.
has to be right. If it's easier, there's something right. Let's try another one. That was there. You know what? I'm going to go up here. But it's all the same thing. You take that same breath, you just do everything the same and see what happens. Start it with the gla.
Gla.
what did you notice with that? Was that easy?
It was easy and it was not so different with how it sounds.
Yeah. Well, what do you mean?
I,
Not,
I,
not,
I, I mean, it was like one timbre. It's
yeah. Now that's interesting because I'll tell you what I heard in a very good way. The top note had a slightly different register balance than the bottom notes, but just as you said, every note belonged to every other note. So it all seemed like it was one piece. So that's another thing that I always say, skipping the breathing thing, talking about register balances. When we have the right register balances for each and every note, when we're singing them, they may seem like they're all different. They may not. Everybody's different how they feel it. But many times when they feel like they're different register balances, and on the inside, we think that it's not a smooth scale. On the outside, it's a very smooth scale. So
yeah.
that was a very, really good smooth scale. But now we're going to see what happens because now we're getting in a tricky area, right? No, I'm changing my mind. I'm going to go up a half step. Again, you just think gla ah ah ah. You just breathe like that. You don't even worry about what's going on. You just approach it like all the other ones and see what your voice does. Okay?
Okay. Gla.
Yeah, that was very good. And again, that top note is slightly different than the top note we had here. Of course, as you go up by half steps, it's going to be different, and we're getting into a different area of the voice. So it's going to shift. Now, did you notice something shift or change or not? It all seemed like it was pretty much the same.
It was the same. Highest note was really good. I
Yeah.
really liked it, and when I sing down, it was a little bit. I don't know. It was not perfect, not so easy, but after that, I think I fixed that, and it was. Um, on the lowest note, it was normal.
So that's interesting that you said you didn't think it was so good going down. I thought it was pretty good. And then, but then, and what you ended up with was also very good. So, okay, I'm not complaining. I thought it was good. And the top note was very, very good. So, but that was your impression. That's great. And if you then, thought it wasn't as good and you fixed it, well, you fixed it. It was great.
Okay.
Wonderful. We're going to try another one. And you just, same approach, same everything. See where it wants to go. Again, the breathing in is the most important. I'm going to
Ah,
stop you.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Gla.
yeah.
Yeah, and you notice the ha, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So remember gla, and that
La.
also helps make it more efficient because the gla prevents you from pushing that air too hard with the first ha.
Mhm,
Okay?
mhm.
So again, watch that in breath and gla.
Okay. Gla.
Okay, now what did you notice with your in breath? Was your in breath a little different from the other ones?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know why. I just felt tightness.
Yep.
Uh,
I'll tell
yeah,
you.
maybe it's because I nervous a little bit. I don't
No, no,
know.
no. I'll tell you exactly what happened. And you're fine. Even if you're nervous, you're doing great. But I'll tell you what happened. So we did this one, and then you started it with the ha. I said, okay, fine. Do it with the gla. And then what happens with everybody? If they are thinking about the exercise and thinking, oh, I want to make sure I do it right, then that's when the breathing goes off. So when you took that in breath, even though you did this, I noticed it wasn't as expansive because you weren't thinking about the in breath. You were thinking, oh, I hope I get the exercise right.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. One of the more difficult things for anybody doing singing is to sing a new piece of music because you don't know exactly where the notes are going. You're learning it. There's different words. It's this. That's hard on the voice because you don't know where you're going. So you're hesitant. So because you're hesitant, you're not singing out and you're not sure about the notes. That's why whenever we're not sure about what it is we're singing, that can negatively affect the voice because then we get a little tight, we hold the air. Anybody who gets nervous in life, singers, non-singers, we're going to hold our breath. That's what we do as human beings when we get nervous. We hold our breath. It's that whole fight or flight. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
hold my breath. So whenever we're thinking about, oh, am I getting the right notes? Am I doing the right thing? And is it sound okay? Then we're going to hold our breath. So that's what happened with that one. And what I heard was interesting. When you listen back, you'll hear it. On the way up, because you didn't have the efficient airflow, it got a little scratchy. There was a little on the
Yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah. It
Now,
was.
that being said, the top note wasn't bad and coming down wasn't bad. It wasn't as good as the other ones. But even though you didn't quite have the right breath, it got a little scratchy, it still wasn't bad. Which is a good thing, right? But now we're going to do it again. And again, gla. So gla. Don't even worry about the exercise. It's the same thing that you've been doing with all the other ones. You just worry about that in breath and then just let it fly, okay?
Okay.
Well, yeah. That top note was pretty good, wasn't it?
Yes, it was not a super perfect like it was before, but it was not bad.
Oh, now what didn't you like about it?
Um, I don't know, it was a little bit scratchy, a little bit.
I didn't hear you felt it was scratchy because I didn't hear any scratchiness.
I don't know. I don't know. For me, it was a little bit.
Okay, now, did it feel free or did it feel like there was something shutting down a little bit?
It was much freer when I went down.
Okay,
Um,
so I'll tell you what.
and when I moved when I started to move more intensive, it started more freer.
Okay, so you know what? Let's just do it again because
Yeah.
many times when we just do the same exercise again in the same way, the muscles figure it out. The muscles figure out what to do. They just take over for you. You don't even have to do anything. So we're gonna have you do it again, exactly the same thing you just did. Watch that in breath, and then see what happens. How about that one?
Yeah, it was better. It depends from my moves of my body.
There you go. Then that shows you. Also, what I heard with this last one is that um, I don't want to say that you were louder, but it was a little bit more present. You had a little bit more confidence with it. So the other one maybe was a little hesitant, was a little held back, and this one not so much. But that also is probably dependent upon the movement and the feeling of freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's very good. We're going to try one more because I want to see
Yeah.
what happens. Be surprised. This one's going, no, I don't know if it's what it's going to be. I'm going to guess that it's going to be different. It may or
Mhm.
may not be different. I'm
Mhm.
just be aware that that might happen. But everything else is the same. Gla, and you move and you breathe and the whole thing and see what happens. What did you notice with that?
It was easy. It was light. It was loud. It was good.
Yeah, it was very good. And that was an F.
F. Wow.
Yeah, pretty easy for an F, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Really.
Okay, so I'll tell you what, between now and the next time that I see you, I really want you to think about this breathing thing. I want you to just feel in your body, what is it doing? Where are you taking the air? Move around if you need to move around. Watch the in-breath. Note, see if you could really notice, is my body a little stiff when I take the breath in? Is it stiff when I sing? Is it not? So when you sing, just really be aware of the air and the movement and the freedom of that and play around with that.
Yeah, okay.
Great. And then we'll see where it's at the next time I see you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. It was you always do your perfect magic with my voice, and in the end of the lesson, I always feeling much freer, much I sing much better.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. Well, that's the goal, right? And I hope it's helpful for all of you people out there. Thanks for watching Donna Reid Talks Voice. If you have any questions for me about this episode, or if you'd like to join me on a future episode, please visit donnareidtv.com and click Contact.